If you're trying to make viral content for a boring business, but none of it actually leads to sales, you're not crazy. I hear this all the time from service businesses, consultants, contractors, and operators who think viral means dancing trends or chasing attention that never pays the bills. The real problem isn't that your business is boring, it's that most people are optimizing for views instead of outcomes. And once you see the difference, content stops feeling random and starts working like the system it should be. So coming up in this video, I'm gonna show you 3 things. First, how to think about content the right way if you're a business and not a creator. Secondly, how boring businesses actually earn attention, keep attention, and turn that attention into sales. And third, how to organize your content so it compounds instead of you burning out. So if content has felt like a lot of effort with very little return, this video will fix that. So here's the mindset shift most people miss. Content is not about views unless your business is creating content. If you're a real business, content is a tool, not the product, not the goal, a tool on your tool belt. This clicked for me after something I learned from Dan Sullivan's strategic coach. They talk about having a toolbox, a tool chest, and a tool shed. A toolbox is what you keep on you, quick tools, fast fixes. A tool chest is bigger, more organized. You use it when the job matters. And a tool shed is where the heavy equipment lives, big tools for big outcomes. Now, most people treat content like it's a single tool, right? They're swinging the same hammer at every problem and wondering why nothing's working. But content isn't about views, it's about outcomes. Sometimes you need a small tool to earn attention, and then sometimes you need a bigger tool to keep it. And sometimes you need heavy equipment to actually convert it. A short clip is a screwdriver, a YouTube video is a power drill, and a deep breakdown is the table saw in the garage. Same craftsman, different outcome. The problem is that most people grab random tools and hope something works. That's why content feels exhausting and random and unprofitable. So instead of asking, how do I go viral? The better question is, what job is this piece of content supposed to do? And there's really only 3 jobs. Number 1 is to get attention. Number 2 is to keep attention. And number 3 is to convert that attention. Once you see that, then everything else should click for you. And right now, this matters more than ever. Because with AI automation and endless slop content everywhere, noise is cheap. The only thing that cuts through is signal. Real perspective, real experiences with real intent. So instead of asking, how do I go viral? The better question is, what tool do I need for the outcome that I want? And that's the lens we're going to use for the rest of this video. And so the first thing is gaining attention, right? Earning the right to be watched. Let's talk about the attention aspect first, because if someone doesn't stop, then nothing else matters. And when you look at boring businesses that actually win with content, they're not inventing new ideas, they're borrowing proven formats and putting their businesses inside of them, right? That's the game. This part of content has one job. It's not to educate, not to sell, it's just to earn the pause. And you can do that a few ways. Number 1, with proven formats, with your spin. The fastest way to earn attention is to use formats people already recognize, not trends, but formats. You see street interviews, a million times. Now imagine I asked homeowners what they hate about contractors, or I asked business owners what they regret about spending money on, or I asked people what they think marketing actually does. The same format, just a different lens. Or list style content. Everyone understands top 5, top 3, worst mistakes. Now it becomes top 3 things killing most service businesses. Top 5 upgrades homeowners actually care about, or top mistakes I see every week in this industry. Or think HGTV. So instead of pretending you're a TV show, you just say HGTV for your city. Here's what 50K actually gets you in this market. This is what a cheap job versus a job done right looks like. Same structure, people already binge, but your expertise inside of it. And that's why people stop. Now, the second way you can do this is through constraint-based content. This one works because it turns normal work into a challenge. Instead of saying, here's what we do, you say, let's see if this is possible. Here are some examples. Can we generate sales in 24 hours? Can we break down this entire job in 60 seconds? Can we show the full build in under 2 hours? We're giving ourselves 7 days to fix this system, and here's what happened. You're not teaching yet, you're just documenting the constraint. People don't watch because it's fast, they watch because they want to see if you actually pull it off. And the third way that you can do this with a format is repeatable visual anchors. This is how you stack the deck, right? Certain visuals almost guarantee attention because they're instantly signal credibility with a specific audience. And you see this everywhere, right? Coaches in luxury cars, builders on massive job sites, founders in whiteboard rooms. It's not about flexing, it's about instantly telling the right viewer, hey, this one's for you, right? So for your business, the anchor might be always filming on site, always starting at the same desk, or always opening with one number on screen, always standing in front of work and not talking about it. When that visual repeats, people don't ask, who is this? They already know, like, and trust you. Now, here's the key thing to understand. None of this is about being entertaining. It's about being instantly recognizable. You earn attention by using formats people already understand, adding constraints that create more curiosity, and anchoring your content in visuals your audience already trusts. And once you earn the attention like this, you've earned the right to do the next job. And that's not selling yet, that's not educating yet, it's keeping them, it's retaining them. And that's where the trust starts. Quick pause here, because if this framework is clicking for you, I put all of this into something you can actually use. I created the Boring Business Content Guide for business owners who don't want to guess what to post or copy what creators are doing, right? It breaks down exactly how to turn boring expertise into content that earns attention, keeps attention, and leads to sales without trends or gimmicks. So if you want the prompts, the examples, and the structure so you can apply this into your business, then you can go ahead and grab it using the link down below. And now let's go ahead and talk about how this actually converts into revenue. The next question that you have to ask yourself is it worth staying for, right? Getting attention is the cover of the book, but retention is what makes people actually read it. And this is where most boring businesses fall apart. They win the pause, they immediately waste it, because retention isn't about being louder or funnier, it's about giving people a reason to lean in. Now, when boring businesses retain attention well, they usually do one of two things. They put their expertise inside of scenarios people already care about, or they take a clear point of view and stop being neutral, right? And this is where the trust essentially starts. Now, one of the easiest ways to keep attention is to stop talking in abstracts. Instead of exploring concepts, you react to things people already recognize. Think about how sports shows work. They don't explain football from scratch, they react to the plays everyone just watched. Now, boring businesses can do the exact same thing. Here are some examples for you. A contractor reacts to another contractor horror story someone posted online, or a consultant breaks down why a business failed after a headline goes viral, or a marketer reacts to a bad website or funnel and explain what went wrong. All of these scenarios, you're not inventing the moment. You're just inserting your expertise into something familiar that people already know. And that's why people stay. They already care about the situation. You're just adding your clarity to the point. Now, the second thing is that strong opinions create gravity, right? Retention dies when everything feels safe. Most businesses are terrified of being wrong, so they stay vague. They hedge. They explain both sides. And that's exactly why people scroll away. The businesses that are retaining attention, they pick a side and they stand 10 toes down. Not to be edgy, but to be clear. And some examples of this could be like, this is why cheap work is almost always more expensive. Or another one would be, I would never recommend this upgrade and here's why. Or if you're doing this in your business, you're making life harder than it needs to be. Lastly, this advice works online, but will kill you in the real world. People might disagree, and that's totally fine. Disagreement keeps attention. Neutrality is what kills it. And when somebody sticks around long enough to hear why you believe something, that's when the trust starts forming. Another one is depth over breadth, right? So this is where boring businesses have a secret weapon. You live inside a world most people never see, and retention explodes when you act like a tour guide instead of a salesperson. So instead of, here's what we sell, you show how this actually works behind the scenes. What most people never notice, why this tiny detail matters way more than people think. This is where tradespeople can nerd out, right? Consultants can zoom way in, and operators explain the stuff that never makes it into the marketing. You don't need anyone to care. You just need your people to care, right? And that's when they do. That's when they binge. So now, look at what just happened. You earned attention by being familiar. You kept attention by being relevant and opinionated. And at this point, people are watching not because it's viral, but they're watching because they trust you and how you think. And trust is what lets content do the final jobs. Not views, not likes, but business leverage. That's where conversions actually come from. And this is the part that most people skip. They get the attention, they even build a little bit of an audience. Then they wonder why nothing changes in the business. That's because conversion doesn't happen when you sell harder. It happens when your content starts doing the work before the sale. When boring businesses convert attention well, they do two things consistently. They educate them with a lens, and they show the depth and systems and not just tips, right? And so when you're educating with a lens, most educational content fails because it's flat. It explains what to do, but never explaining how to think. Conversion-driven content always has a lens. Some examples are like, this is how a beginner thinks about this certain topic, or this is how an expert thinks about this, or here's what everyone tells you, or here's what actually matters in XYZ industry, or you can do this the easy way or the scalable way. It's not just answering questions, you're shaping judgment. And when someone starts thinking, I like how this person sees the world, you're no longer competing on price. Now, here's the quiet truth. People don't hire experts because of one tip. They hire them because they believe there's a system behind the advice. So instead of random posts, you start showing how things connect in your world, what order matters, what breaks if you skip a step. And some examples of that would be like, here's why fixing this makes everything else easier. Or this only works if this is already in place. Or if you don't have this part, then the rest doesn't matter. Now your content does two things. It helps the right people self-qualify, and it repels the wrong ones. That right there is conversion. So at this point, content stops being random. Every piece you create should fit into one of these three buckets. Does it earn attention? Does it keep attention? Or does it convert attention? That's it. That simplifies the content game for businesses. If it doesn't do one of those jobs, it shouldn't get posted. And once you start to see this content out there, content for you becomes way easier to manage. You're no longer guessing, but you're building assets that your business can actually use. So here's how you can actually run this like a system instead of guessing every single week. You just follow a simple ratio. It's the 3-2-1 rule. Every 6 pieces of content, 3 pieces are built to earn attention, formats, constraints, visual anchors, stuff that gets new people in the door. 2 pieces are built to keep attention, opinions, scenarios, point of views, stuff that makes people stick around and trust you. And then 1 piece is built to convert that attention, right? Education with a lens, depth, systems, stuff that moves someone closer to buying. Most businesses flip this. They either post all attention and no trust, or all education with no reach. This ratio keeps the engine balanced, and when you're saving content ideas, this makes it very simple. Every idea you see, every post you like, every video that stops you, just ask, is this attention, retention, or conversion? And then just drop that into a bucket, remix it for yourself, run it through the ratio, and that's how content stops being random and starts supporting your sales cycle for your business. And once you do this consistently, something interesting starts to happen. Your lead costs drop, your sales conversations get shorter, and people show up already understanding your value. And when content starts doing these 3 jobs, people already trust you before they even talk to you or someone from your team. Now, if you want the exact prompts, examples, and formats to run this without guessing, I put everything into the Boring Business Content Guide, and it breaks down the same system you just saw with plug and play ideas you can actually use. You can click the link down below to grab it. And if your real pain right now is that leads feel expensive and slow, the next video I'd watch is the breakdown I did on how to lower lead costs without chasing more volume. because once content starts supporting your sales cycle, everything else gets easier, and you can click that video right here.